So 6 years old,
Yeah.
and it's been a journey ever since.
Yeah, for sure, man. Rapping at 9, rapping in the neighborhood. I was one of those. What's below middle class like that you can't define?
There's so many things that all become the same thing. Like, you know, let's talk about this though. But yeah, I wouldn't take any of it back, man.
Yeah,
I wouldn't take any of it. But it's financial struggle through every part of your life.
For sure.
That's what it is. We can call it whatever we want.
There you go.
Every day, if you're financially destitute, if you're in a family that doesn't have a lot of financial understanding, financial success, every day of our lives was a financial struggle. And as a kid, you feel it.
Yeah.
You feel it at every moment because that's the conversation every day when you wake up. It's about electric bills. It's about rent. It's about food. Every adult around you is talking about not having money because every decision in their life is around not having money.
There you go.
And so it's a tough place to be. But, man, if you can survive there.
That part. That has been like my number one goal. I used to use my parents. I love them to death. They did everything they could to provide, to help. But I used to use that as motivation for me. I remember being in elementary school, and one day my parents, they used to leave like $1.25 out for lunch. You know, this is your bus fare. This is your, your lunch money for the day. And I remember the first time I didn't get like my quarters for lunch, and my sisters did. And it was like, today you and your brother won't get it, but your sisters will. Work with us. Deal with it. And I remember going to school, and I'm like, I don't have any lunch money. I can't buy lunch. And I started shooting dice, in school. I started hustling in school, respectfully, to actually, get enough money to be able to buy lunch. And that became the norm. And then when they would go on field trips, sixth grade, I remember, kids going to Kings Island, it was $30 to go, $40. Parents had to, and they like, yo, you can't, I can't. And I remember hustling up money in school, whether if it was, rapping and people paying me, or I'm shooting dice in the bathroom. I remember paying for my own field trip if I wanted to go. So that I used that as like motivation when my parents couldn't do. I'm like, I'm gonna figure it out. I never held it against them though. I never was like, you are the worst parents. I was just like, okay, you can't do it. I'm gonna figure out how to do it because I wanna be involved. I wanna go. I wanna, go on these field trips. I wanna eat lunch today.
Was there people around you that did hold it against them that still use that as a crutch on why they haven't succeeded in life?
Of course, you see that every day, and even that is motivation for me. People make excuses for why they can't get to where they're going, and they use everything about their upbringing. They use everything about their surroundings, their circumstances as to why they're not where they're at, instead of taking that energy and that time to figure out, okay, what can I do about it? And I literally took that on at an early, I didn't even know what that meant, but I'm like, instead of harboring on what can I do? Some of it was bad, and some of it was good, but it was, what can I do to change my circumstance, my situation?
Yeah, you're not here asking people to ignore circumstances, but what you're saying is, regardless if they exist or not, overcome, because ain't nobody coming to save you.
Nobody's coming to save you.
Nobody is, right? I personally have not met somebody that's ultra wealthy, because I remember as a kid, you're younger than me. I think you're probably like
52.
30 maybe. Are you younger now? How old are you?
52.
No, you aren't, man.
In the spirit, man.
You are not. Get up out of
34.
here. No, okay, all right. So I remember being a young kid and growing up financially poor, watching this show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. The guy's name was Robin Leach. He had an English, so I'm 45, so it's a decade ahead of you. But he had an English accent, and it was all about limousines and people with big mansions and these big jobs. And I looked up to those people as if, like, man, look what could be achieved in life.
Yeah.
And so that was positive for me. But there were a lot of people around me, too, that were actually talking bad about those types of people.
Right.
And I think they were hating on something they never went out and worked for themselves, that they didn't know how to get there. And so the struggle is to be in an environment where there's a lot of people around you that aren't breathing positively into you, for you to still understand it as a young kid, right? And but we could all blame the circumstances. And here's the thing. It's valid.
Yeah.
Like, the circumstances that we find ourselves in, that as kids we didn't sign up for or choose, that's real.
Ooh.
Someone made some decisions that didn't line up with giving us the best start that some other people had.
Mm-hmm.
Some people got to start on first and second base. Some people started in dugout. Some people didn't start on the team. And so the challenge is to see all that, know it's there, but be like, doesn't matter. Let me overcome.
Yeah.
Let me go out and take some action here.
The reason they hate people like that is because, one, they don't seek to understand, and two, they think you're ignoring it, like, completely. They think you're not. It's not enough acknowledgement of, hey, but what about? And they hate that. They hate that you have that kind of determination, that kind of ambition to go beyond that, right? And to seek more. So
what do we do with that?
Honestly, to be honest, there's nothing you can do besides do what you're already fucking doing. And that's continuing to do the work, continuing to set the example. Some people get it, some people don't. And it's just one of those things that you have to understand, like for me, I use my influence for things like this, right? I want to talk to that person that's in 6th grade.
Is that why you do the audio youth camp?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I want to talk to that person that's in 6th grade that they didn't get them quarters in the morning. They didn't get their lunch. Well, it's probably like $4 now. And lunch probably $8 in elementary right
75
now.
cents a dollar.
Yeah, back in the day, it was like $1.25. You get the whole. But
I got a carton of milk for a quarter back then, man. I can't believe I'm this old guy sitting here talking all this trash. I remember those old people talking this about back in the day.
Back in my day.
I walked through the snow, 18 miles. And
they're like, what is he talking about? $1.25? My lunch is $5.
Here I am.
But whatever it is that they're getting. There's somebody that's in this. Sorry to say, but they're in a boys' bathroom right now shooting dice to hustle that up. I'm talking to that person, and whether they get it or not, hopefully they get it, and they use what they had to say. Hey, somebody did it. Somebody was in my same circumstance, and they were able to accomplish X, Y, and Z, and be able to get to where they're going to actually reach me. And I don't know them. I just hear them. I can do the same thing. That's all that matters. So that's what we need to do, is to just continue to, we can't fix everything and everybody, but we can continue to do the work and put it out there, man. And wherever it lands, it lands.
How do you find inspiration in the music business and in this production? Because you do the audio youth camp.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I read about it on your website. It's really neat. But how do you take this approach and this attitude out into this world of business that you have? So it's Timeless Recording Studios. I read that you thought like you never dreamed that you'd have a studio. I pushed back. I'm like, no. You can put that out there and talk about that. Absolutely not. Not the guy sitting in front of me that has this energy and charisma. No, man. Some stuff creeped in that mind, that 9-year-old kid that's rapping, that's shooting dice. You thought about some things like this. I bet the first time a guy like you saw a studio, saw a mic, you're like, wow. And you thought about maybe having one.
Yeah. The funny thing and the most interesting thing about that is God will allow you to dream, and he would allow you to get a glimpse, but you will be surprised as far as the vision that he actually has for you. So a lot of people who are surprised at where they're at, when they get where they're at, they're like, that's true. It's like, I've never seen myself at this magnitude. I've always knew like I'm gonna be, destined for success, but the way my journey went, it was like, like even with the AYC camp and dealing with being able to, we had people like High Tech in there giving these kids motivation, right? High Tech is a great friend of mine, great mentor of mine. We had people like T Nava from the Free Nationals, who plays for the Free Nationals for Anderson .Paak, talking to them and playing with them and doing music with them. I didn't see that, as a kid or even as a young entrepreneur. I didn't know what kind of effect I would have or what it would look like. I knew it was going to be something, but God will just continue to, he'll push you in that direction, and you'll realize like, wow. So
how far ahead does a guy like you actually dream then?
I dream big. I dream far. There's levels to dreaming, right?
But if you were in Atlanta, how long did you spend in Atlanta?
So I moved in Atlanta in 2010. I've been back and forth for about 10 years.
So, see, this world has gotten a lot smaller. So if you're in Atlanta, one of the biggest video producers is in Atlanta, Tyler Perry.
You called him a video producer?
Yeah, here's what he is.
He's gonna kick your ass.
Well, that's okay. He can call me that, right? But this new world we have, I think it's changing a ton. Look at in the podcast world what's happening. What do we call them? I mean, what is a podcast anymore? Right. So I think that this is evolving every 6. Look what AI is doing. Every 6, every 12, every 18 months, it's like a whole new world again. And so, but I don't know if I'll ever meet him. He'd kick my ass, so I'm okay. But I
mean, you'll get a good lawsuit.
Yeah,
this building will be whatever you want.
I'll buy like 5 more of these. Let's go. Paid for. Done. No, I think, but being there, see, all it takes is someone to see that.
Yeah, that's it.
And you should be like, well, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get all the way there, but look what he did.
Yeah.
Look what's possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, how far ahead should we dream? Should we dream that big?
I think you should dream big, medium, small. Like, all of it matters. There's levels to dreaming, right? My small dreams are like my goals, my immediate goals.
There you go.
So I go walk into your building, and I say, wow, I see his vision. I may not understand or know what you plan to do with this building.
I don't either.
And that's okay.
You just start and you just do something.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at your building, and I'm like, the first thing I said, and I told Dave, and I told my homegirl DJ Essential, I said, yo, this is how I want my record label to feel like. I want to be able to walk into a big building, and we're going down hallways, and there's different studios, there's different floors, there's different levels, whether they're done or not. So that's one of my medium dreams, right? Big dreams is, like you say, multiple of these, right? And the small dream is, how the fuck can I get one of those?
Next step?
Yeah.
Next step,
like tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, I'm asking Mark for a loan tomorrow. Offline.
You know what's possible? All this, right? All this stuff is, guys like me, what's funny is we've got no cash because we spend it every time we've got it. And we don't spend it on debts we buy assets.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, I drive a nice car and all that and stuff. But we buy assets that continue to pay us back.
Right.
And what I want to tell everybody, this is small potatoes, what we're building here, compared to really what's possible. But I know when I started, this would have felt really big. And so that's the question. How far ahead should we dream? Because every year, my wife, it's always like, what's the next thing? What's the next level in year 2, year 3? Because it has to feel possible that all the hard work you're putting in and all the sacrifice, it's attainable in a short enough time frame. But also know, like, hey, I'm doing this for a bigger reason. But if people only knew, like, my story's not special because, like, I think it's 93% of millionaires are self-made. They're first generation. So my story is not special from the standpoint of me being some unique person. No, I'm an average kid that grew up in under average circumstances for people that look like me, that had a lot of the same struggles that a lot of people in this world have. But I just got to work every day. And if I could accomplish this by 45, just think about what I could accomplish by the time I'm 55.